Hello, Anytime here. Today, I'll show you a 1997 anime titled Princess Mononoke. Spoiler alert, watch out and take care. The movie starts at Muromachi village in Japan. A demon attacks a city. The demon has been cursed, and a wise woman in the city asks everyone to run away from the demon. However, the youngest prince in the village, Ashitaka, decides to look at the demon. He climbs on the cliff and looks at it. He sees the demon isn't ready to back down, so he takes his horse and goes after the demon. He begs the demon to leave, but since he doesn't hear, he attacks the demon. Fortunately, he kills the demon, but he gets injured too. After the demon dies, the wise woman returns. She sees Ashitaka injured and says his injury is a curse and they should pour him holy water. She bows down to the demon and she sends him off. After she finishes her rite, the demon says their village will suffer the same way he had suffered, then he withers away. Later, the clan meets the wise woman, who tells them that the demon is a boar god from the west and has been corrupted by poison in his body. She shows them the poison. She tells them that the wound on Ashitaka is a curse, and he will eventually die from it. Since Ashitaka is the last male noble blood in their village, they ask the wise woman if they can find a solution to Ashitaka's curse. She advises Ashitaka to go towards the west, and hopefully he will find a solution there. The custom in their city is that no one escorts another out, so Ashitaka leaves the village without an escort. Before he leaves, his sister hugs him and gives him her knife, so he won't forget her. On his journey, he sees some villagers hunting a monk, Jago. He fights the villagers. Inside the village, he wants to buy rice, but he only has gold to pay with, and the seller rejects his gold. Jago pays and takes his gold. Jago follows Ashitaka. That night, he tells Jago everything that has happened to him. Jago tells him he may find help from the great forest god, although deer-like gods heavily guard that place. The following day, he continues his journey. He walks towards a nearby village and sees some men following a woman called Lady Eboshi. Lady Eboshi wishes to take the land of wolves, so she attacks all the wolves. In the fight, Eboshi shoots her arrow at the wolf goddess called Moro. He later sees a beautiful young lady, San, riding on a wolf. San is a girl adopted by the wolf goddess. She comes down from the wolf and sucks out the blood from her mother, Moro's body. Ashitaka stares at her until she notices, and when he attempts to greet her, she ignores him. He hears noises around him and sees two men falling off the cliff. He asks the spirits around to lead him to the Iron Town, led by Lady Eboshi. As he gets to the cliff, he asks the survivors to rest a little. He looks at the great forest god in amazement. They continue their journey and reach the Iron Town, a city that serves as a refugee for outcasts. In that city, they process irons and create firearms. As they reach there, the villagers welcome them. That night, while they get to know each other, the men tell him about Lady Eboshi, and when also Eboshi fought with the boar god, Nago, and how Nago was cursed by Eboshi. Ashitaka quickly discovers that the demon he killed was Nago, and Eboshi cursed him. He confronts Eboshi and shows her his hand. She takes him to her secret mining room, showing him the great gun her miners are mining that can cut through any forest or god. He gets angry at her. He says he has been inflicted with a curse because of her, and now she wants to clear the giant forest and kill the gods completely. She apologizes for the curse, but insists the gods must leave the forest because they can get sand to mine. After the conversation, she takes the gun and goes to shoot at the bears. She pleads with Ashitaka to join her in her mission, but Ashitaka refuses. She tries to prove she's doing the right thing and says that when she takes over the forest, then San, who's Princess Mononoke, may eventually become human. She explains that Mononoke lives with the wolves and she hates humans. He remembers who Mononoke is, as he had seen her sucking the wolf goddess's blood. As he returns to the village, he helps the women mine the iron. He tells them he's leaving the next day because he needs to meet with someone. San attacks the village to kill Eboshi. Ashitaka helps San by waking her up before she falls into the trap laid down by Eboshi. Sam and Eboshi get into a fight, but Ashitaka helps San and injures Eboshi. He carries San and attempts to take her away. One of the villagers shoots him for injuring their lady, but the curse holds him from dying. Even in his weak state, he rides San back to her forest on his horse. As they arrive, he gets weak and falls. Later, San regains consciousness. Since she hates humans, she attempts to kill him, but he explains he's the reason she's alive. He also comments on her beauty. Meanwhile, the hungry clan of apes asks San for permission to eat Ashitaka because they think eating him will give them the strength to defeat Eboshi. She orders them to return to their camp and leave her guest. She leaves him by the pool of the deer god. She dips part of him inside the water and puts a leaf on his head. The deer god, also called the forest god, arrives. She goes to Ashitaka and heals him. On the other hand, Jigo, an assassin who was paid to get the head of the forest god, comes with his armies to defeat the forest god. He looks at the bear god, Okoto, while Okoto notices the smell of humans. As San gets to Ashitaka the following day, she tells him he's lucky to survive. The bears see Ashitaka and want to kill him. San tells them that the forest god has saved Ashitaka. The bear asks why the forest god doesn't save Nago, their cursed god, and leaves their god to die. While they lament, Ashitaka confesses that he's the one who defeated Nago when Nago attacked their village as a demon. Okoto doesn't attack him. However, he warns Ashitaka that he will kill him when he sees him the next time. Then Okoto and the other bears go to kill Eboshi. Eboshi gets another opposition. Her city, the Iron Fortress, is attacked by Lord Asano, who orders her to leave the land for him. Also, the Emperor asks Jigo to visit Eboshi. Jigo promises Eboshi that the Emperor will save her land from Asano if she joins him in bringing the head of the forest god. The offer sounds nice, and Eboshi agrees. In the forest, Ashitaka wakes up and meets Mona, San's mother. He asks her if the human and the gods can't live together in peace, and if she isn't thinking about San, who will be most affected by the fight. Mona tells him San was trapped by her human parents when she caught them in the forest, but rather than killing San, she took her as her daughter. So San's loyalty lies with the wolves. She asks him to leave the forest before sunset, else she will kill him. He returns to Irontown, while San and Mona figure the humans are setting up traps for Okoto. The humans get some smoke to ensure the bears do not smell them coming when they cut down some trees to make Okoto angry. Since it's a trap, San pleads that Mona warns Okoto not to fall for the trap, but Mona tells her the bears are stubborn and they won't listen even if she advises them. Irrespective of that, San decides to help the bears. She takes a wolf with her to help Okoto. As Ashitaka gets to Irontown, he sees invaders have taken the whole town. He rides inside the water and survives. He meets Toki, who tells him their lord has gone to get the head of the deer. He rides back to the forest to find Lady Eboshi and tells her that Irontown has been invaded. He meets Jigo, who refuses to let him get to Eboshi. He forces his way in and sees a wolf has been stuck under a tree. He tries to carry the tree away, but he can't do it alone. He begs some of the members of Irontown to help him so the wolf can take them to San and they can find Eboshi. Okoto is injured, and all of his members are dead. Jigo predicts that Okoto will visit the forest god for help, and Okoto does as predicted. Jigo tails Okoto till he gets to the forest god. Jigo has planted humans to wear the clothes of bears, so they will defeat Okoto. San predicts Jigo's plans, so she begs Okoto not to visit the forest god. She doesn't want Okoto to become a demon like Nago, so she sends the wolf she took along to find Mona and explain what's happening to Mona. She begs Okoto not to go to the forest god. As a result of Okoto's pain, he eventually becomes a demon. That evening, she finds his way towards the forest god's pool. He becomes a demon and swallows San. After a long search, Ashitaka gets to Lady Eboshi. He informs her the town she's trying to save has been invaded and her people are suffering, so she should return home. But she refuses. He also sees Okoto and tries to get San to no avail. As expected, Mona returns and asks Okoto for her daughter. She gets into an altercation with Okoto. The sun eventually sets, and the forest god is out of his pool. He kills Mona and Okoto, so San falls into the pool with Ashitaka. Eboshi finds a way to shoot the god, and Jigo successfully cuts off the god's head and runs away with it. The remains of the god look for its head. The forest god oozes a water-like substance, and this substance kills anyone that comes in contact with it. In the process, Mona's head comes alive and bites Eboshi's hand, but she survives. Angry, San also attempts to fight Eboshi, but Ashitaka stops her. Ashitaka saves Eboshi from dying. He asks her men to return her to Irontown. Then he takes San along with him to find Jigo and collect the head of the forest god. When they eventually meet Jigo, Jigo refuses to drop the head, but they retrieve it from him forcefully. Ashitaka returns the head to the deer god, who accepts it although he died. His form washes the earth. It heals the earth and lifts Ashitaka's curse. Later, Ashitaka and San wake up. San confesses to loving Ashitaka, but she returns to the forest. Ashitaka, on the other hand, volunteers to stay back and rebuild Irontown. He, however, promises to visit San from time to time. Thank you for watching the recap. Please subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap. See you next time.